Yeah, and for those of you who are joining me via my Facebook or the social media platform, I also want to take this opportunity to say a pleasant Friday evening. You know, it's always a joy when I can come on studio or in studio to share with you what is happening in our beloved country. But before I go further, may I take this opportunity to apologize for not hosting the program on its statutory day because of other matters or pressing matters last Wednesday. So I could not have been in studio last Wednesday. But that aside, I am happy to be here tonight, Friday, September the 8th in the year 2023. I know Fridays are usually the day when we all try to socialize with friends and peers and relatives and families after a hard week of work. But that aside, I am also happy to be here to share with you what is happening in our beloved country. So despite it being a Friday, despite a Saturday, despite a Sunday, whichever day it is in the week, it's always an honor when you can come in studio and share with your people. I trust that you had an awesome week. I trust that your week began with great things and you were able to accomplish those goals that you would have set out to accomplish during the course of this week. I also want to take this opportunity to extend birth anniversary greetings to those of you who are celebrating a birthday, whether early up in the week, today, or over the weekend. And I know my goodly friend and brother Mark Anthony Benchcop, he is having a birth anniversary today. So I just want to shout out happy birthday to you, Brother Mark. My own brother, my blood brother, he celebrated his birth anniversary last Sunday. So I just want to say a big shout out to you, my beloved brother Colin, who is not here in country, but wherever he is, happy belated birthday. You know, your sister must kind of give you a shout out. I can't be shouting out to friends and my own sibling I don't shout out to, right? All right. For those of you who are celebrating a wedding anniversary, whether during the course of the week, today, or over the weekend, allow me this opportunity to extend best wishes to you and your best half. May you continue to grow in love. May you continue to respect each other so that you too can celebrate, 60 years of marriage, 50 years. Those milestones really mean a lot. And couples who have celebrated those years of togetherness in marriages, they set an example, they set a tone so that young people like myself and others coming, others who went before me, others coming after me, they too can pattern themselves from those examples, This, marriage is a sacrament created by God, and where a man and a woman can come together as one, and then they can procreate and the rest is history. The Bible reminds us about replenishing and fulfilling the earth, So happy wedding anniversary to those of you celebrating an anniversary. And as usual, I also want to take this opportunity on behalf of myself and the team here at Let's Talk HBTV to extend our deepest condolences to those of you who have a death in your family. I trust that you find strength. I trust that you find comfort, and may you find solace in Almighty God. You know, death is a thing that we can never ever get accustomed to. But we know that once we live, for those of you who really, study theology and God's word, that once you live, you will die. No man is on this face of the earth forever. I don't know when is my allotted time, but I try to do my best. I try to live the life that God has requested of me, because I don't know the hour, I don't know the day, I don't know the date, I don't know the time, but I know that I have life, and one good day I have to face death. So my deepest condolences to those of you who have lost loved ones. Announcements. I also want to take this opportunity to remind each and every one of us about the continuous registration. It is our obligation. It is our responsibility to ensure that we who have not yet registered to get registered. It is the responsibility of parents also to ensure that those little ones, those young ones, who will attain the age of 14 by December 31st, 2023. You hear me? 14 years by December 2023. You too can be registered. We don't have much time. Time might look as though it's on our side. But we're already in the month of September. It's already September 8th, 2023. So we have practically 2 more months or 2.5 months to go before the closing date of November 30th, 2023 for continuous registration. As I've been saying before, getting an identification card is not only for the sole purpose of voting. Oh no, it goes beyond voting, right? An ID card enables one to open an account, to transact personal business, and to do so many other personal things, right? Even to travel internally rather than using your passport, which is a bigger, and it's more like a book form, and it's a little heavier to carry. You can just carry that little light flat thing in your pouch and you can move around the place, right? So please, let us encourage ourselves so that we can encourage others to get registered. And what is the process? The process is a simple one. All that is required of you are 2 things. One, either your source document by way of a birth certificate, and you may have a birth certificate that the writing on it is not as clear as it ought to be. So when you go to the registrar's office, or when I say registrar, I mean GCOM officer, and it is difficult for them to recognize letters, they will ask of you to go and get your birth certificate done. Just last week, I reached out to the registrar there, who is not in country, concerning birth certificates, and I was advised that they have an easy process now. I think you have to pay an expedited fee of some $3,000. I just can't imagine that, right? But the expedited fee is $3,000, and you will be able to get your birth certificate in hours on the same day. So all that is required is just that you have to pay a expedited fee of $3,000, similar to what the passport office requires too. If you need your passport within hours the same day, you have to pay an expedited fee of $20,000 Ghana dollars, right? And the other source document is that of a valid passport. So you can either use the birth certificate, or once you have a passport that is valid, it hasn't been expired as yet, right? You can also use that to conduct the registration process. And the process is less than an hour, right? Less than an hour. You just walk in there, do your stuff, take your fingerprints, your photograph, they will take your particulars, write up what they have to write up, you sign the forms, they give you a pink slip of which you retain in your possession until, you know, the cards are made available, of which you have to present that pink slip, right? So I just want, as I said before, easy, 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 and we got to ensure that everybody gets registered. Because even if you're 18 years and over and you have never registered and you got your birth certificate and your passport, you too can get registered. Because come 2025, we have to boot the People's Progressive Party Civic out of office. You know, as you move around the city, different ones will ask you, man, when we gonna be got to get these people out of government? These people doing a bundle of nonsense, and it is time they go. But the only way we can get them to go, get them to leave, so that the right set of people can govern this country, is that you have a moral responsibility. And that moral responsibility is to get registered, right? So you have offices across the 10 administrative regions, and wherever you live, you just visit those offices. So again, you had from since March 4th, April, May, June, July, August, September, 6 months now. Then you got October, November, right? So practically 8 months to get yourselves in line, right? So for further guidance and assistance, you know, feel free to inbox me, and, you know, easily accessible. Everybody know Ferguson by now, Annette Ferguson by now, you know. So I'm easily accessible. Just go on Facebook, type in Ferguson, like my page, and you send me a messenger, and you might even find a contact number there for me too. And also my email address, my official email address, so that I can be reached. I'm also on IG, Instagram, I'm also on Twitter. So please, let us utilize the social media platforms. You should utilize the social media platforms to reach out to your national representatives, right? Or your leaders, right? Good. The other thing I want to remind you also is that this program, I have a YouTube channel of which you can subscribe to. Just type in, go to YouTube, the icon there, YouTube, type in Let's Talk with Annette, and there you'll find me. And all that is required of you is just to subscribe, right? Good. This evening I'm solo again. You know, sometimes I like rocking all alone because you got so much that you want to get out of the way. So this evening, the topic basically is matters. Mr. Operator, matters with the plural verb, you know, matters, not the singular verb, the plural verb. Matters of public importance. And you will agree with me, viewers and listeners, that there's so much to discuss, there's so much happening in this country. So much is happening, and it seems as though Guyana is not a real place. If I'm to really steal those words or that particular phrase coined, or I'm going to borrow it, I'm not going to steal it, I'm just going to borrow it. So in borrowing that phrase, quote and unquote, Guyana is not a real place by the Learner Senior Council, Mr. Nigel Hughes. Sometimes when you call him Senior Council, he says, no, I'm not Senior Council, I'm a senior citizen. So this thing is so laughable. But that apart, I just want to continue what I'm here for, right? So matters of public importance. And I recall, growing up, listening to the likes of Roger Moore, At Home with Roger, I think it was, that program. A lot of interesting topics and views used to be shared on that particular program. Then you had the Waddle Show, Ronald Waddle Show, quite an interesting program too. I think you have also Basil B, which is still being aired after so many years, so he still keep his thing going. But these programs, I also recall Things Not Regular. Yes, Things Not Regular by the late Larry Alexander. Yes, I trust I get the name right. Things Not Regular. So things not regular in this country. It's irregular in this country at all. This is a beautiful paradise. I don't know, when God was creating the world, He took His precious time to form Guyana. That's why, we were one nation with six races, or six peoples, and we all have our destiny. What we experience in this country, many other nations don't experience it. We don't get the snow, we don't get the cold. We're a tropical nation, and we gotta give God praise and thanks for what He has been doing in this nation, despite the failures of some of our political leaders. So this evening, my first matter of public importance is that of the reopening of schools. And schools reopen its doors on Monday, September 4th, 2023. And I'm quite aware that many of my colleagues across the region, they were able to inspect and assess even before school opened. The MPs who have responsibility for regions and the geographic MPs, they were able to conduct pre-assessment of schools within the regions, and the reports were coming in that many of the schools were not ready. So when schools reopened last Monday, it wasn't a surprise to us because we knew from the inception what was happening. That is why sometimes we take these issues to the social media platform, because the mainstream media actually lock us out, so you can't really get your messages out on a timely basis. So I took the in my constituency, that's constituency 13, East and West Rumfeld. So I went in there and I visited all the schools, started from West Primary School and ended at East Rumfeld Secondary School, to get an understanding of what is happening. So at West Rumfeld, the issue with garbage, I think they hadn't running water at the time. They had about 6 to 8 black tanks, brand new black tanks on the concrete there. So I asked one of the educators, what's happening? Why is it that these tanks are not up in the trestle, on the trestle there? So she had no response to give to me. The children, they weren't like 100% turnout across the schools that I visited. At East Rumfeld Secondary School, I think the grades 7 and 8, those children, they had to be sent home after dressing in their brand new outfits on the first day. The new wing north of the main building is not fully ready. I was told that the place was very sandy because they're yet to complete the tiling of that area. There was no fan, the schools, they complain about the fans, they don't have proper fans. So I trust this is a heat. Every day we're faced with a terrible, terrible heat. And being in that building, meeting, the different educators on that day, I was like sweating like horse from head to toe. So I can imagine what those little children, the pupils in the West Rumville Primary School, what they had to endure and probably still enduring. At one school, I was told that requests for fans were sent since the last term, just before school closed. And up to now, the requisition, she hasn't heard anything about the request by way of requisition. So I believe the Ministry of Education, who has a responsibility for ensuring that our learners are properly accommodated, and the educators, the teachers who have to do what is necessary on a daily basis, they too are made comfortable. One teacher I recall at one school said to me, I asked about materials and so forth. I said, materials? Just an MP Ferguson, I tell you straight, I ain't taking me small salary to buy nothing. Just like how the ministry can issue 40,000 for children for school cash grants, they can issue cash grants to the schools to procure the materials. We don't have materials. Many times teachers have to go into their pockets. You're paying teachers what they're supposed to be getting, but you expect to have teaching done on a daily basis. The curriculum is delivered in a timely manner. But what? You're not concerned about whether the materials are there. You're not concerned about the welfare and all the other things concerning teachers, where learning, effective learning is expected to be delivered. I also remember in the budget that was passed on February the 2nd, either the 2nd or the 3rd of 2023, 94 billion Ghana dollars, and I'm going to quote it again, 94 billion Ghana dollars was approved for the Ministry of Education. They got 20 or 24 billion more than last year, because last year it was between 70, either 72 or 74. So they got 20 billion more for budget 2023. Then just before we went into recess on August 9th, the Ministry of Education again came for additional monies. I'm sorry I don't have the information beforehand to quote the exact figures of what was approved on August 9th. Again, supplementary. So the budget alone for the Ministry of Education is over 100 and something billion Ghana dollars. Now tell me, where is money going? That's the question I ask all the time. Where is our monies going? You can't tell me just going into building schools. Yes, you might be building the schools, but if you don't have the full capacity of students to be accommodated, isn't it waste of taxpayers' money? At one school, you had about 3 classrooms, all empty, because the children didn't turn up on that day. In another school, you had furniture not properly laid out. Furniture in the school compound lined off. One school said to me, it was only last week Thursday, that we this place? Me asking questions, the people telling me. I know the people going to be open up to me. And I'm going to expose. And I know people don't like when you expose these things, but the truth got to be told, because this is all I know, truth. So, I believe that And the Ministry of Education need to put their houses in order. And I hope Priya Manichan is listening to me. And I hope she got somebody tuned in to listen to Ferguson. Because we cannot continue like this. This is an oil-producing country. And schools closed its doors, I think, on July the 10th of July. Now tell me, why is it 1 month into 2 months, they ain't doing nothing? So where is money really going, Priya? Where is money really going? That's the question I need you to ask. And I remember on the 9th of August, when that supplementary paper came for Ministry of Education, there was a big back and forth between my colleague, Danishnath Mahipal, and several other colleagues. I think Nima Flubes, Maureen, Philadelphia. These are all educators. So they're in the system, so they understand what is happening. They understand the challenges and the constraints they face on a daily basis. So when the question was put to the Honorable Member Priya Manichan, why is it? Because apparently in past times, the monies used to go to the regions, and the regions will procure all the materials for the various schools within their region or domain. But what I find happening now is that this money is now being centralized. So the central ministry will now be responsible for procuring these items and have them dispatched to school. What do you say of those things, viewers and listeners? Isn't it total control? Total control, because we don't even have the capacity. We don't even have the capacity at the central level to get certain things. That is why you have to that is why you should decentralize services. But you know what? Where money, this thing we name money, the root of all evil is concerned, these people ain't clean. Because if they're supposed to buy this item for $10, they're going to ensure they go to get it at the cheapest price. $10 might last you for a little couple months. But they buy it at $2. We're going to expect $2 not going to last. So I believe the Ministry of Education should get itself in order. I know that my colleague Coretta McDonald, she too was out there as General Secretary of the Ghana Teachers Union. So she had a first-hand experience of what is happening, and I guess, would have been in contact with her teachers across the nation to really find out whether things were in place for the school term. But no. So I believe the ministry should be aware of what is happening across some of the schools, and better systems will now be put in place to ensure that our children are no longer affected. At Tocqueville, they had to suspend, Tocqueville Primary School, I think, they had to suspend classes. Why? Why? If you know that school is scheduled to be closed in the month of August for 2 months, you got to prioritize which schools you're going to do. You can't do 100 schools at one time, because as I said before, we don't have the capacity, the contractors, and that's where you find substandard works being done across this country, because you got one contractor getting 100 contracts at one time. Now how can he deliver? How can he deliver? Moving on. So I just want to wish those little ones once again a successful school term. Please be focused. You're sent to school to learn. Education is the key. And I would tell my little ones, education can change everything for you. Don't worry with who driving this and who driving that and who living here and who living. I said one good day you will get that. I'm invested in your education because when you get to adulthood, you must be able to find yourself a good job, move on to university and continue your studies. Make yourself somebody in society. So all the best to you wonderful teachers. Continue to mold the nation, continue to impart in our young people. And I want to say to young people, go, do well, excel. And to parents, we have a responsibility to ensure that we guide them, we be there for them. Our children's successes can only be accomplished with our input. We can't leave everything to the teachers. Yes, the teachers got their role. We have our role. The children too, they have their roles. And God will do the rest. Right? Good. And to those of you heading off to university, congratulations. Continue to qualify yourself, because you want, when you got to become the president of this country, you can't show your CXC, you can't show your diploma, you can't show your master's, but you jump from diploma straight to master's, and then master's, well, after master's levels, you doctor of philosophy, but you must work hard. Don't let people write your papers and so work hard. Right? Don't plagiarize. Don't cheat. Work hard. Right? So that you can show your proof at the end of it all. Right? The other matter of importance I want to touch here quickly on is the frequent accidents. Every day is an accident in this country. Just early in the week, I heard Mr. Robeson Ben coming out, and admonishing motorists that they have a responsibility to utilize the roads in a careful manner. Well, that is so. The big unanswered question is, what systems are in place by this administration to ensure that deaths, road accidents, decrease? It's too much, deaths by way of accidents. It leaves so much pain. So much pain family gotta go through when they lost loved ones. I heard also the goodly bishop, Minister of Public Works, he too had something to say to the road users. But then again, yes, we got the road markings on the road, we got the signs, we got all the necessary features, the stop lights and everything, the traffic lights, but people are not adhering to the rules of the road. The other thing too is that though you have the laws to enforce, that is not happening too. That is not happening too. When you're driving out there every single day, you gotta, before you leave home, you gotta cover yourself. Because when you go out there, you know which madman or mad woman you're meeting up with on the roadways. Because people have no respect, no regards for fellow human beings. Even the truck drivers. Last early Monday morning or Tuesday morning, I was making my way up to the airport and backed up. Oh my God. I prayed for covering because every minute is a big truck, and they're not, these high beams they're using, they're not dimming their lights, so it's blinding the oncoming driver, which is, we're at a disadvantage. So something got to be put in place. These truck drivers operating as though they're driving minibuses or some small cars. They fail to realize that they are not the only road users. And while driving by them, want to overtake other trucks. So when you see them coming, you gotta now pull into the corner just to save your life. So it seems as though these sand truck drivers, they got a quota to meet. So they don't care how they drive, because at the end of the day, when they mash up somebody's car, you know what I mean, their life still safe. So I believe that the time has come for more to be done to arrest the traffic situation on our roads. And you know, let me make this point. The coalition, when we were in government, we instituted the curfew, the 2 a.m. curfew. Oh boy, they beat us left, right, and center. But if you're to do the analysis between 2015 to 20, up to when we left office on August 2nd, 2020, you will see that one, we had a reduction in domestic violence. Secondly, there was a reduction in road accidents. Now every day you open the newspapers, or you go to the social media, the Facebook, you see accident here, accidents there. No. Because of that 2 a.m. curfew, we were able to save lives. We were able to save lives. So now that they're back, I know everything they have regressed. They have regressed everything. So rather than us progressing, we're regressing. Progress means to go forward. Regress means to go backwards. So what you find happening now, because of what the coalition would have done, you know, anything good, these people don't like. Anything good, the People's Progressive Party Civic don't like. So they've regressed the 2 a.m. curfew. And this is what we're faced with as a nation. So please, my dear brothers and sisters, let us use the roads with care, caution, common sense, consideration, and I'm forgetting the other C, but it's 5 C's, so I'm going to get it. Right, so let us exercise the 5 basic C's for the road when using it. Because we have an obligation, we have a responsibility to look out for each other. We must be able to be each brother, our brothers and sisters keeper, right? So I ask of us to use the roads with care and caution, because this government ain't got time. They ain't got time to put proper plans and systems in place to protect our lives. So we have to be responsible. I want to provide you with an update on the current situation in Tamari. You know, Tamari North people, early this week, not this week, about 2.5 weeks ago, myself and colleagues, some other rooms, we were in the Tamari North area. And because it has been reported that the airport, some staff from the airport authority, they have moved onto a land at back of the airport where persons had commenced building, claiming that the lands belongs to the Ministry of Public Works and also the airport authority. I served in public infrastructure as it was there. And I I am aware that the lands back of the airport is not the airport per se lands or the Ministry of Public Works lands. These are state lands that are controlled by Lands and Survey Commission. And when we inherited that project, the CGIA project, you would recall that even before the 2015 elections, there were some issues with residents and the then Minister of Public Works, Mr. Ruxemen, where he had this high-handed approach, thing that will look, to move in and just broke up or broke down, so quote and unquote. So that's why he was given this call name by persons, broke up Ben or Hammerman Ben or something to that effect, right? So those persons at that time were told that they had to be relocated. Well, then that government then had no plan, no relocation plan for the people of Tamari North, who were in close proximity of the airport expansion. So I recall while we were in opposition, myself, Comrade Joseph Harmon, and a few others, because Comrade Harmon was the person shadowing Public Works and Housing at that time, so I was a part of his cluster. So we reached out to the residents to represent their issues at that time. And as fate would have it, the government changed in 2015. And when we took office, we were able to review this whole airport expansion. And we realized that the amount of persons they wanted to remove from the area was not the amount of persons in close proximity of the project. So we engaged, we consulted with the people, we were able to find an area, had homes constructed for them, nice, good quality homes, not them homes we're seeing, color things we're seeing in Diamond there. I call it a cow pen, or chicken coop. That's the term. I mean, you can't treat Guyanese like that in an Irish economy. Them sort of things you building. Those sort of things you building. Give people proper homes, man. Build proper homes to people. Build, if you want, build homes, low income homes to people. Build proper things, man. Don't build things looking like chicken pen, or a pig pen, or a cow pen. It's Guyanese, and we deserve the best because we're oil-rich economy. So give us proper things, man, right? So what we did, we had those homes constructed, and the people were relocated. We didn't use no big stick approach. We didn't move it with hammer and chisel to no. That was never a David Granger administration. There's already the stick licks now. We got people think we were too soft and too this and no. It's always about us consulting and listening to our people. So we did what we had to do and we moved them in. So now the airport is claiming that they got rights to this land. Last week, early this week there, they took police, arrested a young man who was standing up for his rights and all manner of things. I mean, how can we be so uncaring one to another? Find common grounds, man. Meet with the people. And 2.5 weeks ago, we stood with those people who protested the airport authority. So you have a situation at hand. What should be happening now is that the airport calling the people. If you had to walk to the minister, you're calling the people, you all sit down and find an amicable solution to this problem. Don't treat people like that. You're bringing police, you're fencing off the area. The people went back on the lands to continue building their homes. You bring back the police. You have young people arrested and all kinds. What's really happening, man? This is how we intend to move forward as a nation. Come on, you have to find common grounds. The people in Tamarina got representatives. You have Nima Flubes, the honorable member, who's the MP for that area. Engage her. Engage the leader of the opposition. Engage the shadow person for housing. Well, I happen to be that person. Right? Engage us. And let us sit around the table and find ways and means how we can deal with this situation. Not going to get out of hand. One set of people left to suffer. No, man, no. So, I'm here to I know the young man had to attend court, I think it was Monday morning, or Tuesday morning, I'm trying to remember. So, I'm here to get a report on what is happening there. Right? Good. So, that is it for Tamari North situation. I just want to remind us that the sugar workers continue to protest. I think they protested sometime last week, and few of them were actually arrested and passed through the courts. I think they were placed on $20,000. Now tell me this. The coalition, the People's Progressive Party Civic, speaks so glowingly about sugar workers. They blame the coalition for not treating the sugar workers right. And you know, viewers, I know we got sensible people out here. You know that is not true. Sugar is not doing well. This People's Progressive Party continues to use the sugar industry, the sugar workers, as their political pawns. And what a caring administration in the form of the coalition government did, we said, look, we engaged Gawu, the late Kumal Chan. We engaged him and his then executive body. And we said, well, look, this is our thinking. This is the direction we would want to see sugar go. We're going to right-size the sugar industry. The lands, the estates that we closed, we said we were going to give sugar workers the preference of having acres allotted to them, so that they can do, if they want to do cash crop farming, if they want to do aqua farming, whatever they want to do, they would have utilized those lands to keep themselves sustained. Well, you know the whole politics in it. So, this People's Progressive Party Civic now is saying that we are responsible for what is happening in the sugar industry. No, the coalition is responsible. It's you responsible. You claim how we closed estates and operating control. Let me remind Guyanese, the estates, the sugar estates that were closed by Barack Jagdeo when he was president of the Cooperative Republic of Ghana. These are things we ought not to forget. Operator, you have the picture there. You can drop for me, please. Trying to find this to remind Guyanese. These are some of the sugar estate closed under Barack Jagdeo, but you don't ever hear him referring to it. And that's why we have to remind you. Jagdeo's record on sugar closures. 1, who closed Diamond Estate? Not David Granger administration. It was the PPPC. Who closed the LBI estate? Not the Granger administration. It was the PPP. Who closed the Oldham estate? Not the Granger administration. It was the PPP. Who closed the Lusignan estate? Not the Granger administration. It was the PPP. See, Jaguar's record on sugar closures. So these are things we ought not to forget. But they beat the drum so well, they beating it so well, to play in the minds of the sugar workers that this coalition government had no interest of their welfare, when they were far from the truth. Now that they're claiming to reopen the estates closed by the coalition government. Thank you very much, operator. You can bring me in back. They are yet to say to us, show us the record as to the performance of the sugar industry post August 2nd, 2020. Up to now. Up to now, they can't. But just before we went into recess on August 9th, 2023, they came for $2 billion more. $2 billion more for sugar. They also came in February. Billions we give to the sugar industry. When we were in government, we pumped $60 billion into the sugar industry. Was that an uncaring government? That couldn't be an uncaring government when we pumped $60 billion into the sugar industry. Another thing I heard him said when he was being interviewed by critics today, he said, this man is running delirious. This man seems to be a madman who really needs to be evaluated. He said that the coalition gave zero increase to the sugar workers. My brothers and sisters in TV land and on social media. That is far from the truth. The sugar workers got increases under the coalition government. Every cent that they came for in the National Assembly, we give it to them. So when this man opened his mouth to speak, you must never believe him, because that is how he survived. Lies, lies, lies. And people, we have to be careful with the lies. That's why reading is important. Research is important. Soon John just said, what? And I have a recollection of things. I just go do my research to come back, to defend, and I will continue to defend the stewardship of the coalition government, because I was a part of the coalition government. We had our money, but we pumped $60 billion into the industry. You got the oil money now. The people protesting. If the people want the severance, pay them the severance. Pay the people the severance. Pay the people what they're asking for. Because you got the oil money now. What are you doing with the oil money? What are you doing with the oil money? It's Guyanese money, not you Barrett money. The other issue I want to talk about quickly before program time is that today, as I said before, you had a press conference yesterday, Jaguar's press conference. Let me tell you something, these press conferences with Jaguar has become so irrelevant, because what he discussed yesterday, believe you, we come next week, you're going to discuss it. At every press conference, you got to talk about Ferguson's scholarship, you got to talk about this body, you got to talk about North, you got to talk about Burke and all kind of things. It is time you focus on running this country. And stop being petty. He said that the People's Progressive Party Island. Now tell me. You will recall what he did to Gordon Mosley. Ban Gordon Mosley from covering his press conference at Office of the President. What he did to CN Sharma, he should be ashamed to call CN's name in your mouth today. What he did with Stabrook News took away ads from them. Are you talking about freedom of speech? Soon to say something about you, Jack Deal, or anybody else. You're coming after them. When the truth is to be spoken, they will come after you. But the media is there to keep you in check, to keep you in line, just like the opposition. We are there to keep you in check, Jack Dio. So it is time you stop being obsessed about a Norton, about a Bork, about a Ford, about a Amanza, about a Ferguson, and about all of us. It is time you focus, because you're the person who running this country. Even the smallest of child is aware that you run in this country. And we know that everything and anything you put your hands on, it cannot succeed. It cannot succeed because you're a failed leader. And it's time you just bow out, man. It is time Guyana breathe. It is time Guyanese, live the life they really want to live their life. You got people, intimidated, but you can't intimidate me. But this is how you got people in this country. People are so afraid to speak out. Because who are you, champion? Who are you? Who are you? You're not God. You're just as human as I am. But you can only survive you can only survive on power. You can only survive on power. You can't survive like an ordinary citizen like Ferguson. You cannot. Because the many things that you have done to people in this country, the Guyanese will never forget you. And it's time you take your leave, man. It is time you take your leave. The cost of living, those are things you're supposed to be addressing at your press conference. You promise free university education. Tell the nation where we are, where that is concerned. You promise public servants 50% increase. Tell them when they're going to get the 50% increase. I only give them 7, and you're done in year 3. You promised people 50,000 jobs, and today I heard him said he referred to I think it's the IMF report or the IDB report concerning employment rates in Guyana and so forth, right? But he said that massive employment. No, you promised, and further went on to say that 20,000 people are currently employed in the construction company. Well, Mr. Jagdeo, as a member of parliament, I would request of you publicly to make all the construction sites, list them all, and the number of workers, so that you could get your 20,000. Let me see if it's 20,000 indeed, as you claim. You promised people 50,000 new job creation. People want to hear about those things. People want to hear about the high cost of living that they got to deal with in this country on a daily basis. That is what people want to hear. Don't get personal, calling people clowns and all kind of thing. What leader are you, sir? It is time you get your house in order. It is so disgusting every Thursday to hear you, sir. You promised the Guyanese you're going to renegotiate the oil contract. Tell people how they're benefiting from this oil. That is what we need, sir. Not personal. And it's time, Mr. Irfan Ali, stand like a man and govern this country the way it ought to be governed. Because I'm telling you, come 2025, you will have to give an account to the people. The last point I want to touch on, clean voters list. Clean voters list. The coalition is on record calling on this administration to clean the voters list. When the coalition started, the last house-to-house registration, I think, was done in between 2008 and 2009. 2009. When the coalition government came in 2019, we started that process to clean the list because we believe that the list was heavily padded. The run to court. Can't take this body name off the list. I know God till they get what they wanted. We went on elections. A population of less than 1 million persons. You had a voters list of 660,000. 660,000 people on the voters list. We saw what happened. You recall proof to us what happened on elections day. The EU compiled a report and they made key recommendations. One, clean voters list. GCOM needs overhauling. They talk about elections campaigning and financing and all kind of things. The CANCOM report. All of these reports were very clear on what needs to be done. When he lost the elections in 2015, he's on record, Jagdeo is on record, to be precise, October of 2015 or 2015, when he said, he listed some things that he would have wanted to see. One, the chairman at that time, Dr. Steve Suresbali, to go. He wanted a clean voters list. He wanted biometrics. No. Is it anything different the coalition is asking for? We ain't asking for nothing different. All we asking for, let the voters list be cleansed. Once the voters list is cleansed, it's a clean sweep for the coalition government. But we know the beast that we're dealing with. So all that it will be required of us, we will continue to advocate, to agitate, and to call for a clean voters list to be done before any elections of 2025. We're also on record calling for biometrics because we know that with biometrics voting, and dead people will turn up March 2nd to vote, the names ticked off and ballot cast for them. Those will be eliminated by way of biometric voting. All the people who migrate and ballots casted for them, they too. You understand me? So we will continue to champion that call for a clean voters list. So I want to say to each and every Guyanese listening to me here this evening, as I prepare to wrap up, that our country is not in safe hands. I also heard him saying to critics this afternoon that, well, the people will have to get back the coalition to see exactly what the coalition, I may not be saying it directly, but in essence, this is what he was saying, let the coalition come back and the people will see exactly what the coalition is made of. Now tell me, guys, you had the coalition. The PPP want us to believe, Barrett want us to believe, that the governance of this country started in May of 2015. Everything preceding May 2015, he wants you to forget. But these are things we must not forget. So, you had the coalition government from May 2015 to August 2020, and you see how we govern this nation. You had high crime rate, you had police brutality, you had massive murders, domestic violence was, on the down low. So many things, people lived in peace. I could pick up my phone and call anybody without having to turn back or look back to see who is listening to my call. It was so peaceful. It was so peaceful. So all I want to say to you is that you be the judge. Look around and see what is happening. And you will make the decision at the appropriate time. I know time has caught up.